Hello there, guys. Welcome to an episode of Gaming Chat. I am Link584, and this is my good friend.
Hello, my name is Kiki Palmer's wearing my jeans, or Corey Peterson. How's it going?
Well, welcome to the show, Corey. Today we are going to be talking about live streaming, and I know it's kind of like a loose topic to what I normally talk about in Gaming Chat, which is all about video games. But you and I both stream on Twitch. We both do all these video game streams on a regular basis, and they are just a whole new way of interacting with people in the past few years. And a lot of people, like yourself and myself, see that there's more potential than just streaming, everyone just having their own little audiences, just like on YouTube. There's something more to it. There's something more of like a television element. And I'd like to see what your opinions are on the group that I created called TehMonitorTV and the concept behind it. If you could talk a little bit about how you understand TehMonitorTV and why it is that you like it.
Well, first of all, the whole idea of Monitor TV really caught my eye. It just made sense to me. The whole idea of, in every hour a different streamer will come on with a different streaming type of game, right? And you get something different every hour, which is perfect because that's kind of like how a TV show would work, right? Every hour you get something else.
Yeah, and so that's basically the core of what TehMonitorTV is: 24/7 constant entertainment. But then there's also another layer to it. I feel like unlike a television station, the thing about having Twitch is you get to actually interact with people in the moment. It's live and you're there, and it's something that puts power in the people's hand in a way that I don't even feel like you would get on normal television when you could have something live, but there's no interaction. The only interaction you have is with the people in your own room. There's nothing going on with who's on the other side of that TV. No one that you could speak to right then and there. But with Twitch, you have a chat, you have people that you can talk with, and with TehMonitorTV, we take it a step further past a television station, where not only do you have this interactive element, but all of the streamers under TehMonitorTV are all connected. They're all part of a community. So unlike where you have a TV station and you have all these different shows that might not have anything to do with each other, they might all be the same genre maybe, but there's no connecting elements. With us, you get a level of, hey, if you are streaming and then I begin to stream an hour later, the community can cross over. There's not as many seams, so to speak. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love our community. From the very first day, I've just absolutely loved our community, just our meetings, our everything. It's tons of fun. Everyone's really nice, and that's the other thing. All our streamers, right, that we've found have been absolutely like the best, right? We're not getting the bad streamers, I guess. I don't want to call someone a bad streamer, but obviously looking for politeness and viewer interaction and gameplay and stuff. I remember we were talking about, you said, you go in and for 1 or 2 minutes, and if, you're bored after 1 or 2 minutes, you kind of just leave, right? And that's, you want to find someone that, makes you stay there longer than the 2 or 3 minutes. And getting back to the community thing, you were saying we're going to be doing collaborations and stuff. On our hard launch, we did our group playing, what game was that again? Sorry?
I think that was Jack's Party Box.
Jack's Party Box. Yeah, that was a lot of
Yes.
fun. And can't wait to do another one like that. I absolutely love the community.
Just like you said with the collaborations, not only just with the hard launch, but where I was saying where you could be watching TMTV and then it will cross over, the community. It's the same thing with the streams, where not only do we get together just for a big event like the hard launch, but we could have just 2 people getting together and streaming like a race or something like that. And so not only does the community cross over, the streamers cross over. And I feel like that is such a rare thing to find a community that is not just a label of, let's say you have all these people under one roof. Like, I hate to use examples, but let's take like just a general team, okay, on Twitch. You have this team feature, and you have all these people listed in a row on the team page, and you go there, and I don't really get a sense of community. I get a sense of, for most teams, it's just a list of people who might do the same game or the same whatever. There's none of that. You're just kind of put in there, and it's just more of like a tagline on your channel.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, oh, hey, I'm part of this team. Look who else is on my team.
Right.
And then it ends there, right? It's
right. And it's not to say all teams are that way. It's definitely not. I just feel like that it's not when yeah, I feel like if you say you're part of a team, it almost doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh yeah, well, everyone's part of a team.
Yeah. Are you a part of a community, though, right? Like, we are a community, definitely. We all communicate, we play stuff together, plan stuff together.
And that's the other thing, too, is as a community grows, one of the problems is sometimes they may grow too fast, or they may have such a level of growth where the threads that bind that community together, they begin to pull a little bit. And so what was once a very tight community is still there, but they're beginning to unravel a little bit. Like, the foundation is still there, but the part that's the overarch that really made it special begins to get lost. So how do you feel, what would be a way to keep a community that grows, and especially for us, not literally just in terms of supporters and fans and whatever you want to call them, but our friends that view us, but as we grow the number of streamers, where the goal is to be 24/7 and to have original content, coming every hour at you, where right now we're not even close to that, but we have a very good core. So what do you feel would be a way to manage the growth in both terms of as we gain new streamers, but also how to handle a growing community where, for example, we have forums that are on our website that will probably never get used unless we were super large. What's another way of keeping everyone together from the viewer standpoint to keep that community going, where right now it's easy when you can name all the streamers on two hands? So those are the two questions. One, how do you handle the viewers, but then also how do you handle keeping everyone together as a group as we gain more streamers? So both ends of it.
Well, the handling the growth, it's pretty tough, I guess. Handling growth, like, as a streamer and stuff, and as a community, of course, reading chat, I guess, is going to very basics. Sometimes chat moves really fast, and with the growth and the bigger you get, the more people are going to be talking and stuff like that.
So do you think there's a way to really, I was thinking about that idea yesterday, about if the chat is moving so fast, people who you may have regulars that you won't even know about, like you did when you first start out when you're small. Do you think there's a way to retain some of that smallish element and still be big? Do you think there's any sort of in-between or anything that you could do to combat that?
I've really thought about that, honestly, a lot, because I know, obviously, at one point I do want to keep growing, right? And all of us, we want to keep growing.
Right.
And, I mean, even at the viewer count that I have right now of, like, 10 people sometimes, or 12, whatever, like, I do miss I miss things that people say.
That's fine.
Yeah, I even miss people sometimes, and it's not even like my chat's moving fast, and it's just something you really have to practice, I guess. And also, with the becoming big and still keeping that, foundation of the core people and, like, the regulars and stuff that you wouldn't even know that are there, honestly, I don't think there is an in-between. I think it's either you have just your chat and you're going to miss some stuff because the chat moves so fast, or you go sub-only mode. And I honestly, I'm a believer of sub-only mode, but not for a long time.
Right.
That makes sense.
It does. I was curious because Foisco and I have talked about that a lot, actually. We talked about that maybe as far back as 2 years ago, because we like to really look into the future, and not necessarily to say that we are going to get big or that we're presumptuous in any way like that, but we want to have a plan in case, what if there is like that golden moment where you get like the right shout out from the right person or something, and then all of a sudden overnight your experiences change. You go from, let's say, 10 followers to 1,000, or something big happens. And we were thinking about it, and we said, well, you want to have a lot of viewers, because then that means they can generate a revenue stream for yourself. And then if you have subscribers, that generates revenue too. So if you eventually had enough subscribers that you can make a living off of that, then you say, well, okay, I have all these subscribers, but you want to keep gaining new subscribers, and you may have gained a lot of those subscribers because you were small, because you were able to interact with them. So we're like, so how do we keep that down? How do we keep that level of interactiveness like going, and still be faithful to also the people who are subscribed? And so we came up with the idea, if you're doing something like this full time, or you're getting close to it, is talk with your viewers as you're growing. And as you gain subscribers who are paying for your content, talk with them like, what is it that they really want out of the money that they're spending to be entertained by you? Do they really care if you have private streams, once a week, twice a week? What is it that the common person there wants? And if you're a good person, you're probably getting good people who are very respectful of the channel, and you have people who just donate out of the goodness of their heart. So if people who are subscribing, they just might want the special emotes on your channel. And so we were thinking, like, well, what if you promised and you set aside certain time for your subscribers, like a special time that also you got to be faithful to the ones who are not paying for your content. And so I was thinking, so what if you had subscriber only streams, but then you had the ones that during like your prime times were still available for free for your regular audience? That way, business wise, that's when you're doing the best. You could go ahead and get more people to subscribe to you. But then on top of that, what if you had certain ones where you had a password set on your channel, and only to the people that follow you, like let's say on Facebook or Twitter, you send out a code. And so let's say, the password is, Zoidberg, right? So what it is you say, hey, we're going to stream for a couple hours. The password to get in is Zoidberg. And so then you could reward the people who are following you on your other outlets. And those people that are following you on those other outlets isn't going to be nearly as large as the ones that are just straight up following you on Twitch. Because let's say you had 10,000 people on Twitch watching you. You might have like 500 people on Twitter.
Yeah.
And out of those people on Twitter, how many are actually going to be available the moment that you make that tweet?
Right.
And so if you would normally have a stream that had, let's say, 300 people in it, you could go ahead and still have set aside maybe once a week some personal time for the committed people who really want to be engaged with you. Send out that tweet or that Facebook post with the password and have a couple hour stream with probably only like 50 people instead of 300.
Yeah.
And so we found, and still be loyal to the ones when you're, whatever your most prime time is, and have those open, but put aside a little special time. And it doesn't have to be much. Just an hour or two a week for those people who follow you on other outlets would be the only solution I could think of that would combat it.
Yeah, that would probably be the only solution, because I didn't think of that one, and all I've been doing is thinking of of an in-between, and that's probably the closest we'll get to an in-between, I think.
I've never heard someone propose that option before.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any streamers do anything like that. I think most it's just either, sub-only or not sub-only. I know there are some. Lethal Frag, one of my favorite streamers and my inspiration as well. he does like on Fridays, he has it so it's just open. So on Fridays, you know, he plays like his signature game or whatever, and so he can talk to everyone, right?
Right.
And all the other days, I believe it's sub only. But I don't know. I do like the idea of like a private kind of stream that only the paying people can see, because then it's also like an incentive to get that as well, right?
Yeah, to get people to follow you on the other outlets and stuff like that. And I feel like let's just say, you know, at that point, the only time you'd hit that point is if you are so large that you are doing it full time.
Yeah.
It really becomes such a thing that the people that would consider that option the most are the ones that are making a living off of it. And so let's just say you're putting 50 hours a week into streaming because, you know, you have to stream a little bit more than people would normally work, like a 40-hour work week. Streamers have to do it more, you know, to make that money. So let's just even say it's 60 hours a month and you're making your living. What is the hard part of taking, let's say, you know, 3 hours out of that entire like month or something, you know, or 1 hour a week out of those 60 hours that you're doing, and just set it aside for the people who are extra committed to you that might feel like that they're losing you, that there's a disconnect, and won't want to stick around. And they're the ones who usually, if they're following you on other sources, they're the ones who are sharing you, and they're the ones that are responsible for your growth. And I actually think that those are, not to put a label, but I feel like that those are the best of your followers, so to speak.
I'd agree. Definitely the followers who retweet stuff and favorite things and stuff. It actually helps a ton.
It
It
does.
really does, yeah. And so anytime, like any other fellow streamers I see, anytime I see someone post something, I don't even, am I even following you on Twitter? I
I think
don't.
so.
Am I? Okay. I was just trying to remember the last time like I favored or retweeted one of yours, and that's why I don't remember. So I
Some
think I
people
think I
use-
gotta follow you. Yeah.
I can't remember this. There's so much going on social media these days that you never know who you're following and who posts what. So now that we've talked about the way of maintaining that level of growth from a viewer point, what about from the streamer point? As if a community like ours keeps growing, how do you keep everyone connected? Do you just keep doing the same thing that we're doing now, where we get together, you know, like we did for the hard launch, where we have group streams and meetings and do our best to try to cross promote and collab with each other? Do you think that still works out on a larger scale on the streamer side of things, our side of things?
Going to be a lot tougher, because if when we have enough people for 24 hours, I mean, where it's going to be at least 24 people, right? Probably.
Right.
So, I mean, that's already a lot of people. Like doing like a Skype call with 24 people is pretty crazy. Doing anything like that in big numbers is going to be tough. I don't know what we could do for like a group stream or something like that on how to stay connected. We'd have to do like a Minecraft kind of thing, I guess. That would be the best. I'm not too. It's tough with so many people. I mean, it's already pretty tough and challenging, I find, with how many we have now, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Right.
And
So maybe I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I just go ahead.
So what? Well, so what if you just kept it like the way it is, like, kept it kind of like the way it is, but have slow growth. That even if we were to, let's say, blow up tomorrow, and my advice not only to us but to anyone who's forming a community would be, even if it does, don't force yourself to go outside of who you are, because if you blow up overnight, people already like what you are. So don't make sacrifice. Don't just start bringing on new streamers just for the sake of that they have numbers or that they're entertaining, but maybe still keep the growth organic and slow. So like right now, let's say we have 9 of us on the team. We're not going to double to 18 tomorrow or something like that. We would go ahead, bring people in like 1 or 2 at a time and get to know them first before bringing on more people, and just keep it as people grow, We all are very well blended together. We all know each other. And maybe just keep it slow like that so it wouldn't be too bad of an issue. I feel like that would probably be the best way to do it, is stay true and stay slow.
Yeah, absolutely. If we all of a sudden just kind of grabbed a bunch of people, it would kind of just get back to the same idea as a team, right? Where
Right,
it's
right.
just kind of you're just kind of there, and it's like, oh, who's that? They're just on the team.
Right, exactly. Because it's more friends is what we are.
Yeah, we are. We are. I love everyone. Everyone's hilarious. I watch everyone's streams like as much as I possibly can. I try and host them when I'm not streaming and someone else is, And the really nice thing is too, we all have really different personalities, like very, very, very different personalities. I find,
Yes,
and
definitely.
and it mixes so well because we're all so different.
Right. That's one of the things I really like about it, is that you can have all these people who are from all over the world with different outlooks, but we're all good people, so we all get along and we're able to laugh together.
Yes, it is very nice to not have any douchebags.
Yes. They don't care because they're douchebags. Oh, so also to add, where you said, if we had 24 people, let's say we're trying to all do like a big stream together, like a hard launch type thing. One of the things I feel like is that a community like ourselves, what we could do is set aside a time where right now we're trying to do like once a month, like the first Sunday of every month, we're trying to get us all together.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the ways that we do it is we all talk in the chat and we all kind of do our best to work together, and if we want to collab, we'll type something in. But if we got a lot of people, we could have something, let's say every Sunday, and only show up if you can make it. So if you had 24 of us instead of 9 of us, you might say, hey, the first Sunday of the month, maybe 6 people show up. And then during the next week, you might have 2 of the 6 people from the previous week show up again, but then there's like 8 additional other people or something. And so there's always that opportunity to do something with the community, do something every single weekend. And you don't have to feel obligated to show up every weekend, but every time that you get on there, it might be a different set of people all getting along. So like we would try to do our best to make it every single weekend so we could mingle with every single person outside of just a Skype chat. And that would be a way I think to stay connected.
Oh yeah, well it'd be cool too because it wouldn't be like the same show every Sunday either, right? Because it's
Right.
not like you go there and it's the same 4 people. I mean, I don't mind, the same 4 people in like some YouTube videos I watch. I do like that 4 people, how they play and stuff, whatever. I like that, but it is cool, every Sunday, different group of people, and that's nice. I think that'd be awesome. Just having sometimes, like you said, maybe the same 2 people from the last week are there, but then they may be different talking to this other group and may be funnier. I don't know, right? It'll just be different every Sunday. It adds a little
Exactly.
twist to it and a little bit of excitement, I find.
And I think that's the best thing too, is that we could just throw a game up there, and because we all get along and because we're only picking people that are good people that have good quality content, you have these people who are used to interacting with their audiences, but then they're also used to interacting with people in general outside of their audiences, because we all get along, we all talk, we all share. And so it provides an opportunity for people to really shine, because not only are you able to have a blast with your friends, but we're all very good, or we're all know how to interact with the audiences at the same time as talking with someone else and doing this and that. So we're able to still give the chat the attention that they deserve. We're able to all hang out, and it's a win for everybody, which is incredible. And that's why I'm very selective about the people who make it into TMTV, because it's not all about the numbers. It's all about the community.
I want to comment on numbers.
Yes.
There's like when with the numbers and stuff, just because someone has so many followers and stuff, doesn't mean, in my eyes anyways, and I'm sure in yours, mean that they're a good streamer.
Right.
And I have two reasons for streaming. One is a positive and one is a negative. And my negative, I'm not going to say who the streamer is because that's just rude. But there was a streamer that gave me a negative feeling, and basically I was like, if this person can stream and get this many followers and subscribers and this and that, how could I not? Because they
Right.
were just rude. They weren't nice. They yelled at one of their viewers. I just didn't understand. And so
Like,
ever
How could
since
people
then,
give them money?
yeah, I didn't really understand it. It was confusing. I had to actually like take a couple minutes and process it. I was like, why are people here? I don't get it. but well, that's just me, and that's how I felt on that.
And so what's the positive part?
Oh, the negative, yeah, the negative, I'm not going to say who it was, but the positive
Oh,
was Lethal
I
Frag,
see.
right? Yeah. It was just I had a positive Twitch experience and a negative Twitch experience, and like my Lethal Frag experience was absolutely awesome. I still love Lethal Frag. Do you know who Lethal Frag is at all, or?
I do not, but it sounds like an FPS player.
He actually doesn't play FPSs.
He
He's
doesn't?
completely indie game, stuff like that. I easily the best streamer I've seen on Twitch. No matter how fast his chat's moving, and it moves fast, he reads every single line. I don't know how, but he does. He interacts with the chat. He's perfect. He does cooking on it sometime. Like he has a cooking segment on Saturdays. He does a bunch of stuff. He's
He's just an overall blast, something that you want to aspire to.
oh, absolutely, yes. Everything streaming that's I look at him. He did a 2-year live stream challenge.
Okay.
I don't know if he was the first one to. I think he might have been like the second one. This would have been like maybe 2 years back. So a while ago. And yeah, he just finished his 2-year, oh, I guess it would have been 3 years ago if he finished a year ago. So
Mhm. And did he keep going, or did he
oh
just...
yeah, he's still going. He's going strong. I believe, what time is it now? I think he'd be on right now.
Mhm.
Probably, yeah. He if you haven't checked out Lethal Frag, I definitely suggest checking him out. I don't think we could get him on the TMTV. I mean, if we could, that would be crazy.
Not with
But-
our size right now, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's always open to ideas and stuff, and he's always open to getting more people, right? And maybe he'd be interested in something like this, where for an hour he's showcased on it. I don't know. I imagine he'd be okay with something like that, but
See, that's one of the things too. Is with TMTV, we're still very new, right? And so we're made up of a multitude of streamers of who all have different numbers of followers. Like you yourself, you have over 600 followers. Tristan, he has over, I think, 300. And then you go all the way up from us, the founders, who only have like in the 40s. But one of the things about us, though, is despite trying to lead a live stream group and not having the live stream followers, we're taking what we know from YouTube, and from years ago we did live streaming, and the number of people watching streams now is larger than ever. So in a weird way, follow what I'm about to say, but years ago, talking back to 2008 or so, I started streaming by myself on justin.tv/link584, which then got eventually migrated to Twitch. And I started by myself, did not tell anyone that I was doing it, didn't tell Victoria or anything, and I got 100 followers on my own with no help from any friends giving me the initial first 4 or 5 or anything like that. I wanted to prove something to myself, that I could be entertaining, because growing up I was a very shy person. And so it wasn't until I was in late high school when I began to finally come out of that shell, and live streaming was a very safe and interesting way for me to do it. And I got those 100. I proved it to myself. And then eventually I told Victoria about it. we started doing it together, and we got over 300. And so we stopped on that channel because at that point it became an us thing, and the channel was named after me, and that's when TehMonitor began to get born. And so that's when we started the whole TehMonitor channel on YouTube, and then we backed away from live streaming. So if you were to take like into account inflation, I guess you could say that, you know, my 300 back then was definitely equivalent to your 600.
That you have now.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier now, because well, people are watching, right? I seriously think Twitch is the next. Well, I mean, it is a big thing already, but it's not going down. I know that.
Yeah. I mean, it caught Amazon's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amazon doesn't, I guess, fuck around, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's business, right? So they see an opportunity into that. They spent like $1 billion on that.
Yeah, it was. Was it? I think it was $1 billion, or it was just under $1 billion, right? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was close enough to like round
so
it
just
to
billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean, $1 billion, and it's not even like this Twitch, you know, has been. Oh, it's been around for like 10, 15 years. You know, it's still new. Like,
It's a baby.
It is, yeah. And well, one of the things, I don't remember the last time I sat down, went to my TV, and was like, I wonder what's on.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, right, we can just watch TV through our computers if we want, or, you know, a lot of people nowadays watch video games. And it's completely normal. If you would have told me this 6, 7 years ago, I would have been like, people don't watch people play video games on the computer. That's not a thing.
Yeah, it's you're crazy. Let alone the people who watch Let's Plays on YouTube. There's no interactivity there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was completely blown away once I found Twitch. I was like, holy crap, this is a thing. And I instantly got into it.
See, now a lot of people in media and other sources don't get it. You got it right away, right? What is it about watching someone else play a game that you could be playing yourself that is so entertaining? Like, why does this system even work?
See, I've actually asked my friends that same question because the reason why I really do enjoy playing, well, I mean, why I do enjoy and I'm pretty good at streaming, is my whole life I've always like been watched. Like, I've never been the one watching. I've always been the one playing, and everyone has always wanted to watch me play. Like, even if I'd just be in my basement and like I go to play a horror game is a very good example. My friends love just sitting there and watching me just play a horror a horror game, like Amnesia or something. They just sit in my basement, eat popcorn, and treat it like a movie. Because it's scary, it's intense, and I guess just how certain people play video games differently catch people's attention. I know everyone plays differently, and
yeah, and that totally makes sense to me too, because I remember going to like parties and stuff like that and watching people play like Smash Brothers and stuff, and people beating each other up and all that stuff, and then you're like, oh, I can't wait to fight that guy next, though, is always what my thing was. Not so much the whole, hey, I can't, I want to sit down and watch someone. So, but that was because that was a fighting game, and you want to be in the action. But like you said, something like a horror game, whole different experience. And so that's why I think like when you're watching someone stream, a lot of the things that get a lot of big views are something that is equated to that of a movie or something that's like an RPG, something that's the journey and experience. But yet you also have the competitive esports people, which totally makes sense. You want to, it's like sports, you want to watch it. But then you have this other category, people who play things like MMOs, and you're sitting there and you're grinding, or you're playing something like Minecraft and you're building something over the course of hours and hours, and it takes forever. What about those people? Yeah, what is it about those people, though, in your opinion, that is interesting to watch? Do you watch those even? Because I feel like that if you were to take and try to explain this type of stuff to the media, they would connect with the esports, and they would connect with what you said about horror games, but I don't feel like they would connect with watching someone grind on World of Warcraft.
I got two things: personality and boobs.
Right. That does seem to be a big thing on the internet.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate thing. It's the same thing with any other industry.
Right, and it makes complete sense. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just how it works, right? I mean, obviously, a pretty girl is just going to naturally get more views and follows and stuff like that because they're pretty and the kids like pretty girls, right? That's
Right.
just kind of how it goes. And the personality is obviously the bigger out of the two. The boobs is more of a joke kind of.
Yeah, but it still garners a lot of views. It's like a half joke. It's like you hate that it's actually a thing.
But it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, the personality. Just like little inside jokes that you've made with your moderators and stuff over the time that you've been streaming. Just little things that you do that your viewers enjoy. Like, it's really weird. I know, like, I'll just say certain lines that people just crack up with, or what. I don't even know what I said, right? Like, I just blurted out something and whatever, and people just like people's personality. It's honestly personality. That's really where it is. I haven't really seen very many streamers that have a lot of viewers that are just they don't look at the chat. The only ones exceptions would be like professional StarCraft players, stuff like that, where I mean it's impossible to look at the chat and play your game because I mean you're doing like 300 actions a minute.
Right. It's like sports. It's something that
Time to look at your chat, and that's completely understandable. So for that, I'd kind of be questioned as to why people would watch, but I guess to learn how to play the game, right? As an esport, you're saying people like to watch even like favorite athletes or whatever. I guess the same would go for an esport, right?
Right.
Dendi, if you know who that is for Dota 2, one of my favorite players. If you have any idea, I watch him and I watch him so I can learn the little tricks he does, right, to get better.
Yeah, I mean that's the same thing I used to do with StarCraft too. There's a guy by the name of the little one.
Oh yeah, TSM
Yeah.
TSM is it?
The TLO.
I don't know if is it TLO?
Well,
It's one of those, I think. Yeah, it's
because it's the little one.
oh, okay. I was saying his
His handle.
clan group. Yeah, like
Group, yeah. I don't know what his actual clan or group one is called, but I always watched him because I always found his strategies to be so entertaining. Even though I used to watch this channel called Husky StarCraft, and he would commentate. Yeah, I met him. He's nice. yeah. I got a picture of him with one of the Willet microwave guys.
oh, as if.
It's not a good idea to microwave this. It's about the two things coming together so weird. But it's a good idea to microwave a Zergling. But so it's back to what you were saying though about reading the chat and all that stuff, and just kind of like to wrap this up a little bit. One of the things I find, going back to talk about this, having the intimate sessions with viewers when you're large. Okay. Phrasing could have been a lot better. But yeah, that was not intentional. But basically, do you feel that if you are a large streamer and you're a viewer and you go into that chat for the first time, not saying you literally, but do you think a lot of people go into that chat and you don't have that small community feeling, right? So you're in there and you're generally laughing as like a group or something, like kind of like if you were watching a big charity stream going on during the course of the week, like Speed Demos Archive puts on, their big streaming thing, Summer Games Done Quick and Awesome Games Done Quick and what have you, and everyone's just kind of laughing together. But do you ever feel like that in the actual large streams where they are reading the chats, because they don't in the charity ones, where the chat just kind of fuels itself, do you think in those ones that some people are in there and they type things just so that the person will read their comment out loud and they'll feel like they have like a mini moment of fame because they got acknowledged in front of like 10,000 people or something. Do you feel like that's a thing at all?
Yeah, it has to be, for sure, because like I've even had, I know, some people come in like they're even blown away that like you read what they're saying, so they'll just like come in and say, say this sentence out loud, and so you just say this sentence out loud, right? And they're so happy. They're just like, oh wow, you actually are real. It's like, yeah, I'm real. Like, yeah, I'm here. But with the bigger one with the 10,000, it's tough because I mean, if that's how they feel and they say that and you miss it, obviously you're not on purposely missing it, right? I mean, that really sucks because then that viewer doesn't feel like they're involved and stuff. I don't know how to make it so they could say something, maybe like when a viewer first comes in, I guess making a command for a bot that the first sentence that that person says as a hello or whatever will come up in red or something. So, you can actually see and acknowledge that, hey, this person's new and this is the first line they've ever said in here. So at least you can acknowledge them. That's just an idea off the top of my head. Because I don't know really, like it's so tough when there's so many people. Like I was saying earlier, like I have 10 people in, and sometimes when they're talking, like I miss stuff, and I'm just like, crap. How did I?
And some of that just comes based upon what game you're playing. Sometimes where your attention is, and then some of it will just come naturally with, as you develop.
Yeah. Oh,
Like experience, but nothing can make you experience for hundreds of messages per second. There's nothing that can really. So it sounds like there's a lot of ways that having growth in a channel is a good thing. That's for sure. But after you hit a certain point, you begin to cross over into an area that a lot of people don't like. And so it's one of the reasons, for example, you named a lot of large streamers, or at least the one, and I don't watch a lot of streaming myself. When I do, it's typically the people here at TehMonitorTV, because those people have met a certain level of quality that I enjoy, and I can go into their chats, and it's relatively small. So when I look for people that I want to watch, and if it just happens to be so that I'll invite them to TMTV, I look for the smaller channels, the ones that don't have over like 30 people watching them at once, because I want to go into more intimate chat. And I feel like that's where a lot of people stand, is if you go onto Twitch, you'll find a lot of people who will either click the first thing that they see, or they want to have a small chat. It's split in those two camps.
I've had some, like, I know I've actually lost viewers with the amount of viewers I have now. There's some people, I remember I had one viewer when I first started off. He told me straight up that he's just there just to talk to me, just to talk basically, and that when the stream gets bigger he won't be there just because he likes very small streams. And
Right.
and I mean, that kind of sucks. I'm sure he's still followed or something, but
It kind of hurts emotionally a little bit inside to know that it's not something that you did either. It's just
some people prefer the smaller streams, and it makes a lot of sense. There's a stream, Criparian. I'm sure you have no idea who that is. It's a Hearthstone stream. Getting to chat and reading chat and stuff. His chat, oh god, his chat is just like, you know how like there's those, I don't know what to call it, like in titles, like they put like the little like GIF. It's like a little guy and he has his hands out and he wants something like a little,
Like little emoticons.
yeah, except it's not an actual emoticon. It's just like brackets and stuff made
Oh,
to look
yes,
like
yes,
emoticon.
like,
the little text versions of making emoticons. Yeah, I don't know what they, but I know exactly.
what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, those. It's literally just a chat filled with that, and it's just people spamming that. That's literally the chat.
That's just awful.
Yeah, that's a chat, and that some people like that, and even in like a lot of Dota streams, I haven't looked at a League of Legends one lately, but I remember maybe like 4 or 5 months back. Yeah, that's all those streams would be. All like the streams that had 26,000 people watching, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just a chat filled with those and just like those copy and paste paragraphs of like random. You may not know.
Messages and yeah, no, I totally get what you
You
mean.
know that
Yeah,
one? Yeah. It's
I
just
mean,
that.
it's ridiculous.
That's all that his chat is, and it's just like, what the hell?
But it's
But
also I think to be expected on channels that are like esports related and stuff, where if people aren't necessarily paying attention to the chat, or if it's a tournament or something like that,
yeah,
it's 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 kind of expected. But if
with
you're like an individual though,
yeah, he is an
I-
individual. He's not like he just sits there and plays Hearthstone, and just the chat just goes crazy, and that's just how he does it, right? And because I mean, yeah, his viewers are definitely a unique bunch.
But do you think as someone like yourself was to sorry I'm keeping you so long, but I looked at time. So I'll let you go in a minute, but we can always do another follow up. But like for example, if you got really large and all stuff, do you think that you would be able to progressively combat that from happening? Like if you think that that's something that you can handle between having moderators and bots even and rules and stuff like that, that you would be able to, if you fight that progressively on your way to that level of success, it should be very dramatically reduced versus being run rampant. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
yes.
So
I totally get you.
yeah, I've definitely been combating it. I've had people that come in, and the first thing they say is one of those paragraphs. I just time them out and say, hey, if we don't allow copy pastas, because we call them copy pastas.
I like that.
And so we don't allow those. Just please, just say hello or whatever and watch the spam. And then if they just do it again afterwards, I just ban it, and then that's it, right? And obviously, if they keep coming back, you just keep doing it, because, I mean, yeah, I'm banning someone, right? And that's technically I'm going backwards. I'm not really moving forwards, but I do need to get rid of that person and make sure that they're not there. It's kind of like weeds, right?
Yeah.
You just like
You got to do it.
yeah, you just gotta pick out the weeds. I mean, I don't necessarily
even
want to
consider
go
it going
out
backwards.
and pick the weeds, but I have to.
Yeah. I don't see it as going backwards at all by eliminating someone,
Yeah,
because then it could affect the rest of your lawn, so to speak, and they consider the lawn the people who want to be there. People don't want to be there if there is a lot of weeds.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's a very good analogy. And so with that, I think that should wrap this up for now. Sounds like there's a lot of things that we definitely covered, and there's even more that we could in the future. But it sounds like there's the biggest thing that I would take away from this is the concern of how to properly maintain a growing channel. Is the one thing that I think is the most valuable part to be explored, and to definitely figure out some things before it's too late.
Yes.
And so I definitely think things like the whole password system and Twitter and Facebook and all stuff, and setting proper times aside, because I know it can be hard that if you get big and you begin doing this for full time, by doing those intimate sessions, you're not making the money. But at the same time, it's those people who are actually really responsible for letting you get that money. So you have to kind of balance those things out. And I feel like that would be a great thing, was if people in the comment section below could leave their own remarks on what they feel would be good solutions and alternative ways to do something. Because it definitely boggles my mind, and I don't feel like I have all the answers by far. But I haven't really heard any good answers outside of what I said today. I've never heard anyone come up with a good proposal, because that's why I don't watch big channels. There's too much lost.
Yeah, it's just really tough to figure out. Just like, like if you have a bunch of people talking, I mean, just have a bunch of people talking. It's so tough to keep up with that chat. Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't seem
jeez.
like a community at that point.
Yeah, I mean, with Lethal Frag, I keep mentioning Lethal Frag because, like, I'm in love with Lethal Frag. Like,
That's acceptable. We all
Yeah.
have someone we love.
yeah, no, he's just the best, nicest streamer ever. Just all the little things he does, and I strongly suggest to everyone who's watching this and you, Link, to just go check him out for 5 minutes. Just give him a follow, just to give him a follow, because definitely better streamer than I am. I will say that. He is.
Were you paid for any of this? Okay, just had to get that out there.
I've subscribed to him and I've talked to him a little bit, but I mean, not anything crazy or anything like that. But yeah,
Well, maybe, maybe you'll be able to send him this video, and maybe you'll butter him up to spread the word of TMTV. That would be great. But definitely, it's been great having you here on this chat. We'll definitely have to do something again in the future, whether it be more about this subject, in a casual way, maybe on a stream or something. Maybe not something, maybe something we could do like with the community, right? Something live. And maybe get some feedback from people in the moment with the actual people who matter, which are the viewers that we were just talking about.
yeah.
So that'd be great. So I'll let you go. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
This has been a very interesting conversation.
It was good, yeah.
All right. Take care, man.
Bye now.